Today we have a brutally honest review of Matt Diggity's Affiliate Lab course. Let me start by saying many Affiliate Lab reviews online are a bit questionable. After going through the entire ginormous course and reading some reviews about it afterwards, there's a couple things I noticed. One, some reviewers clearly did not go through the entire course based on some incorrect comments they make. And two, some reviewers may have taken the whole course, but they seem to be sugarcoating things and kind of glazing over the cons. Now, don't get me wrong, Affiliate Lab is an awesome course, but there are some things that you might want to know before you buy that nobody else seems to be talking about. That's what we'll cover today. First, we'll cover what the course actually looks like on the inside, and then we'll get into my likes and dislikes. Hopefully it will help you make the best decision for you, and if you do decide to take a plunge, there's a link to a $200 off discount code down in the description. For the second time, I try to run through things really quickly in this video, but if you want even more opinions that I had on the course, you can check out my full written review in the description as well. So the course is basically broken up into the main Affiliate Lab course here, and then all these other bonuses down here, which I'll show you in a second. But let's start by looking at the Affiliate Lab course itself. And we'll just go through the modules really quick. The intro is just basically a bird's eye view of everything, which is important, and it helps to see the big picture before you dive into all the details. Next up is this niche selection module, and in this business, niche selection is one of the hardest parts of the business and also one of the most important, because if you get it wrong, then you're pretty much screwed. He covers the difference between niche sites and authority sites and the pros and cons of each, which one is right for you. And in these other lessons, he covers a bunch of different strategies for uncovering niches with some huge potential that I have never heard of before. Lastly, I really like this niche grading tool, which basically helps you decide if you have 5 or 10 different options. It helps you decide based on data which one will be the best option for you. Next up are all these on-site SEO modules. There's a bunch of them here, and these are absolute gold. I'd say this is one of the biggest strengths of the course. He gives the analogy in one of these lessons that on-site SEO, or the things that you have control of and you do on your own site, is kind of like the frame of a muscle car, and off-site SEO, which are the activities you do off your site, is kind of like your motor. And building links and souping up your engine really won't get you very far if your structure of your car isn't solid to begin with. These modules here are good for beginners because it helps because you can get things set up perfectly and the way you're supposed to do things from the very beginning. But they're also super good for more advanced people or people who have been blogging for a while, like me. There's tons of stuff in here that I have never heard of before, and I guarantee there are some tips in here that you could be doing that could take your income to the next level. First, you got the keyword research here, and his recursive process uncovers all of the keywords that you need, not just one good keyword here, one good keyword there. It's a quick process where you can just get all of them and cluster the whole cluster together until you know exactly what you need to knock out. Then this website documentation template here is an awesome spreadsheet, and it's basically like a dashboard that you can use for your entire site, where you can track keywords, anchor text, all the changes you do to your site, everything all in one organized spreadsheet, which is really nice and really makes you feel legit. And is also important if you want to sell someday, because you'll be able to just hand over this document and it's like the instruction manual pretty much. Then these last few lessons are just other ways to find really good keywords, like this outside the box keyword research is something that I'd never had thought of before. Then you got site architecture, which is something that I just screwed up, and this is really good to know from the beginning how to structure your site and your silos and build topical relevance and all those sorts of things. Good to know from the very beginning. I'm going to have a lot of work trying to fix things going forward because I've been doing things wrong for quite a while now. Then he covers everything you need to know in terms of actually building the content, what you need to optimize in your content to make it rank in Google, briefs that you can give your writers, keyword density stuff, reviewing to make sure that everything looks okay, and how to research your content so you're sure that everything is covered that needs to be covered, that Google wants to see in the article, and then a process for quickly reviewing things so you can publish it fast. Then these next couple modules here, site building, these are more for beginners. After you have, kind of overview of the strategy stuff, it gets into how to actually set up your website. A lot of these lessons I'd say are a bit old. I mean, you can still figure it out, but you can tell that they recorded them a while ago when, dashboards looked a bit different and the interfaces looked a bit different. You could still figure it out, but it would be nice if they re-recorded these for now. But the good thing is this newbie website setup stuff is all stuff that you can look up on YouTube or whatever. The goal of this course is more the on-site and off-site SEO stuff, the conversion rate optimization, and all those sorts of things. But the basics you can pretty much find anywhere, and but really the good stuff in this site is stuff like this, like the on-site optimization here, how to make sure you're not cannibalizing keywords. This heading lesson taught me something that I had never even thought of before, like if you have one big article and then one article that's on more specific details, how to set it up exactly so that they don't compete with each other. And I've been doing this wrong for a long time. And so there's a bunch of keyword density here, how to use natural language processing, which is kind of like a language that Google understands better, and how to add schema to your pages so Google can understand it better. All these technical things that I had no idea how to do before, and it's super important for your site. Then you have featured snippets. There's a whole special webinar here that shows you how to steal the featured snippets and the best practices for that, and processes that you can try to immediately jump to position number 1 in Google. Then monetization. This course is mainly focuses on monetizing with affiliate marketing, but also it has a lesson on display ads here, which isn't the strategy that I'm currently using, and so it didn't really help me as much, but it could help people who are wondering if it's worth it to put display ads on pages where you're earning from affiliate marketing as well, because some people think that if you put display ads on the same page, you might take away from your affiliate earnings. And so he's done all the studies. I haven't mentioned this, but Matt's he's used to be an engineer, and so all of these things that he suggests here are based on hundreds and thousands of tests that he's done on sites in his SEO agency with different websites and portfolios that he runs. And so he has all this data-backed best practices, so you don't have to guess if you're doing the right thing. You know based on the data and the experiments that you're doing the right thing. And then these two, creative monetization, are presentations that he gave at a conference, and he shares some pretty clever ways that most people aren't using that can boost your income levels even further. Then conversion rate optimization, he talks about all these different tactics that you can use, little tweaks that you can just add to your website once it's already ranking, to basically instantly start earning more. Because if visitors on your website are converting 2% of the time, and you change something on your site and now they're converting 4% of the time, now you just doubled your income pretty much. And so these changes you can make to your site are really, really important. Then website maintenance, basically how you maintain once you have things set up and running and you're going, what to look out for, pitfalls not to fall into. Then he gets into offsite SEO, which are basically signals that Google looks at that happen outside of your website that are very important. Creating a Google persona, setting up your emails, setting up all your social accounts, creating a social fortress is what he calls it, to make sure that everything looks natural. Pretty much, he teaches that Google really doesn't like SEOs, and if you don't want to look like an SEO, you have to make sure that everything looks as natural as possible. And this is something that most people don't think about. And so he kind of broke it down into a science on how you can set up your site so that it looks natural and doesn't look suspicious at all to Google, and so you can grow up faster. And so these are setting up all your social profiles, how to connect them all, how to kickstart things at the beginning when you don't have any followers and you need it to look like you have real followers, different tricks to doing that. He gets into all the nitty-gritties on anchor text, which is also something that I've wondered about for a long time. When people are linking to you and you're in linking within your own content, what words you should be using to show Google, and how not to over-optimize, which would look unnatural to Google. How to set up local citations, which are what normal businesses do, which is another natural sign for Google. Sending social signals to your posts. Backlink strategies, which what I really liked here is this blueprint timeline, and he basically breaks it down week by week, what kind of backlinks you're supposed to be building, what pages you're supposed to send them to, what anchor text you're supposed to be using, exactly every single week what you're supposed to do from the moment you start your site, so that it looks natural in Google's eyes and doesn't just look weird like you're building a bunch of links to a brand new site, which isn't natural. And so that alone would have saved me months of work and time in the sandbox, as people call it, when Google doesn't trust you. Basically, his strategy teaches you how to get out of the sandbox faster. And he goes all into these best practices based on the data and experiments that he runs in his agency about selecting links and anchors, how fast you should be building links each week depending on what the size of your site is, pillowing techniques, which is basically balancing the different types of links and pages and things that come into your site to make it look natural for Google, outreach methods to build links. This one I really liked, a cool negotiating hack that he uses to get links to his site for super cheap. And so all of these, I've been running websites for like 4 years now, and I thought I had it all figured out. And when I was going through these lessons, I was just like constantly scribbling down things that I need to try, things that I haven't been doing, things that I didn't know. And so it starts out, at a beginner level, but really there's tons of stuff in here for advanced too. It's kind of all together in one. And so another thing is he talks about PBN linking, which he says is optional here, and that's because it's more of a gray hat method, which is a method that if Google were to find out what you're doing, they probably wouldn't like it. But again, he tries to make things look as natural as possible. But the thing I like about this is even if you're not going to use these methods, if you want to go completely white hat, which is by the book, in Google, it's still good to know and be aware of what other people are doing, because your competition might be doing these things. And there's a lot of other, blogging or SEO courses out there that just teach the white hat and don't teach this gray hat stuff. And so I think that puts you at a disadvantage, because you need to know what other people are doing and have the option yourself. You can decide if you want to do it or not. And so he includes both. He includes the safe stuff and the high risk, high reward stuff. Then we got tier 2 link building, which I had never even heard of before, and how to technical audit your site. So basically now once your site is up and running, how to diagnose problems, technical problems, different tools you can use, because all of these things Google looks at when deciding whether to rank your site. Then he has the kitchen sink method here, which is basically a bunch of different things you can try with your site if it ever gets stuck, if your traffic starts plateauing, if you get hit by some kind of update or something, things you can try to kickstart it and get things going in the right direction again. Then down here, he has all these different modules on authority sites, which are a little bit different than niche sites. A lot of the same concepts still apply, but you have to think about it slightly differently. And so he has all these models on authority sites. And then at the end, he talks about basically his strategy for what he does, scaling and buying and flipping sites, and when's the best time to buy, when's the best time to sell, where you should be investing your money, and all of those sorts of things. And then in this bonus section, this 6-figure flip story is a presentation he gave at an SEO conference, where he basically shows step by step exactly everything he did when he bought a site for 6 figures and then resold it for 7 figures. And so here's some other bonuses here. And these last 2 here are just presentations on some of the big core updates that Google did a couple years ago. And so that is the main course here, but then you have all of these bonuses. And I'm going to tell you up front, trying to be honest with you here, some of these bonuses are much better than others. There's some of them that were extremely valuable, and other ones I honestly was disappointed in. And so let me just go through them super quick. Also, a lot of these bonus mini courses are taught by guest speakers. Like this first one about flipping websites is by someone from Empire Flippers, which is a site that sells online businesses. And this is super valuable if you're ever thinking of selling your site in the future, which even if you're just starting, it's good to think about this at the beginning, because it can affect the decisions you make. And if you don't set things up right from the beginning, it can make it really hard to sell. And you may not think you ever want to sell, but maybe 5 years down the road, maybe your life circumstances change and you wish you would have done things right from the beginning. And so there's a lot of good lessons in here. I only did 79% of it because there are also some extra lessons about selling, e-commerce businesses and different types of businesses that didn't really apply to me. But there's some really good ones on selling affiliate businesses and and things you need to prepare for, like 12 months before, 6 months before, 3 months before, just to make sure everything is on track. Then you have the beginner's lab here, and you'd think that this would be super, super, super simple for absolute beginners, but I found it actually, overly technical, and which is okay because in the affiliate lab, the instructions on how to set things up are more clear. But this beginner's lab, I don't know why they made it so technical. I don't think it's very beginner friendly. It's taught by some web development guy, and so maybe he just doesn't know how to simplify things like Matt does. And so I was disappointed in that one, but the same information is in the regular affiliate lab course, and it's easier to follow. Then there's downloads that you can use, checklists, SOAPs, spreadsheets, all the stuff that you need for your business. Here, Matt teaches about the different types of Google penalties, how to avoid them, what to do if you think you've been hit by a penalty, how to recover. Then this outreach masterclass is a pretty giant, let me show you, a pretty giant course in itself, and there's some really good information in here, but I would say it's a little bit long-winded. Like they talk a lot about theory and background and why it's important, where I just kept thinking, okay, I know it's important, just show me how to do it. And so you kind of have to dig. There's gold in there, but you have to dig through to get it. Then you have the affiliate email marketing class, which shows you how to grow an email list and how to market to them and monetize it and earn money with an email list, which is a good addition to add to your site. Then the affiliate portfolio playbook is super good, and that's all about scaling your team, how to hire writers, how to hire VAs, how to hire editors, all those sorts of things. And it really goes into detail and even talks about different personality types, things that I had never thought of before when you're hiring, different things to look for, how to do interviews, how to find the right people. And so I found this one super helpful. And there is another one, this one down here, content scaling, which also talks about hiring, and that's done by a guest teacher. This one up here is done by Matt. This one's done by a guest teacher, and this content scaling playbook I didn't really like either. I liked Matt's version way better. And so Optimize Your Life is basically Matt sharing, his hacks for life about sleep, about physical routines, morning routines. I'm really big into this stuff anyway, so I didn't watch the whole thing yet. But these things are really important because it can really make a difference in your success or not, because it's not all about the work itself. It's also about being healthy and having energy and being productive and staying focused and all those sorts of things. Okay, this is getting long, so I'm going to run through this. This topical authority is also taught by a guest speaker, and is this super, super smart genius guy, but unfortunately he doesn't really know how to explain things at a beginner level, and so it's really hard to understand. But like I said, in the main course, Matt basically talks about the same topics, but just dumbs it down for people like me. And so this I found way too confusing to be helpful. And SEO testing, it shows you how to run your own SEO test, just like Matt does, to get data so you can know exactly what's working and what's not and what you should be spending your time on. 301 Direct Mastery talks about, like, for example, if you were to buy another site and you want to redirect all the links to your other site to make it stronger, how to do that. And then this last one is about AI content generation, which is very timely with everything that's coming out right now. At this point, it's mostly just like a bird's eye overview of how to think about AI and how to use it. And I'm sure he's going to be adding more to this in the future because that seems to be the hot topic for now. All right, the last section that's really important to talk about is the Facebook group. And there's a lot of, pretty much every course you buy nowadays comes with some sort of Facebook group or communities. But the truth is, a lot of courses, it just sucks. It's either totally dead and there's nobody talking in there, or it's just full of newbies asking newbie questions, newbies trying to help other newbies with bad advice, and it's not very helpful. But I'm happy to say with Affiliate Lab, it's probably the best SEO Facebook group that I've ever seen, and there's tons of smart people in there, and they're not just all asking questions. There's people actually sharing, doing their own experiments, sharing what's working for them, what's not. I wish I could go in and show you right now everything that's in there, but one of the main group rules is what happens in the group stays in the group, because there's a lot of valuable information in there, and obviously Matt doesn't want all of this leaking out to all the competition. But I actually ran a test, and I wanted to see how helpful people actually were. So I went in there and I asked this huge, long, 4-part question. It was like a book. And I was sure nobody was going to read through the whole thing and actually answer it. But lo and behold, somebody did, and they answered my question. I was super surprised. And from there, I ended up asking all the other questions that have been burning in my mind and floating around there for the past several months. And some of them Matt even answers himself. And so Matt is active in there, which is really valuable. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for, my likes and dislikes of the course. As promised, I won't sugarcoat things like other reviewers tend to often do, and I hope it helps you make an informed decision. So let's start with the dislikes and then go on to the likes. First, some of the videos of different software tutorials and walkthroughs of different websites, you can tell that it was recorded a while ago because the interface looks a little bit different, looks a little bit old, and you can still figure out how to do everything. But it'd be nice if they took the time to reshoot these videos so you wouldn't have to play around and figure things out so much yourself. 2, it's important to understand that SEO best practices are constantly changing, and Matt is continually doing new experiments to see, what the latest strategies are that are working today, which is great for you, but on the other hand, it makes it difficult for him because he has like a jillion hours of video in this course, and it means that he would have to go through all these hours of this course to make sure every time he mentions something is changed and updated, which would be really hard. He actually does a pretty good job considering how much work this would be, but there are a couple of times where you notice that some old recommendations slipped through the cracks. To give you an example, there are a couple lessons where he talks about the ideal ratio of money articles to informational type articles, and it seems like that recommendation has changed. He even published a case study with a new experiment showing his new results, but that old information is still in one of the lessons. And so if you're just popping around the course, not taking every single lesson, and you happened to start with this video that has the old information in it, then you may not realize that recommendations have changed. That said, if you're ever in doubt about anything, you can always just search it in the Facebook group or ask in the Facebook group. 3, there are a few hacks in the course that I would consider questionably unethical, and that kind of made me a little bit disappointed. These tactics probably only make up 1% of the total, strategy in the course, and you can just skip it if you don't feel comfortable with it. But I was just a little bit disappointed to see these ideas discussed in the course as if there were nothing wrong with them whatsoever. Next con is the sound quality is all over the board. You can tell that they recorded videos at different times using different computers, using different instructors. And so a lot of times in between the videos, you'll have to adjust the volume because it's constantly going up and down from one video to the next. Next is, like I mentioned earlier, some of the bonus masterclasses that are taught by guest speakers aren't the same level of quality teaching as what Matt teaches. And I guess if they're bonuses, I can't really complain, especially because most of the same information Matt teaches elsewhere in different parts of the course. But I just think these extra ones should be, cut out of the course altogether because it kind of tarnishes Matt's stellar teaching reputation when he adds other people's teaching that isn't as good in his course. And the last con is there are no refunds, and so if you sign up, you are committing to following it through and building a successful site. There's no backing out. Now, despite these faults, Affiliate Lab still blows other SEO affiliate courses out of the water. For one, Matt is on the front line testing new strategies every day, so you know that you're getting the latest information. He has access to tons of different websites where he can run these experiments, unlike some other blogging courses where they make all their money from selling courses on how to blog. Matt is actually in the trenches testing out these things himself every day, and so you know he's walking the walk. Second pro is the lifetime updates. Like I said, Matt is constantly testing new things, and he's posting these in the Facebook group. He's adding to the modules to make sure that the strategies you're using are the strategies that are working today. For example, shortly after all this ChatGPT stuff got released and everybody was going crazy, he updated the AI module that he had, and so you can tell that he's on the ball, and a lot of other courses aren't as on the ball as he is. Next, the Facebook group is pure gold. I don't even like going on Facebook, but I go on Facebook every day just to check what people are posting on this group because people are constantly asking really smart questions Other smart people are answering them, giving their experience, what tools they're using, what strategies they're using. And so the Facebook group is basically like having a couple thousand other people in your corner to help you out whenever you run into problems. Next is the course makes you feel legit. And I've been blogging for years now, and this course just made me feel like an absolute mess, like I didn't know what I was doing. But he gives you all the SOPs, the checklist, the spreadsheets, everything to stay super organized. This will be an absolute game changer for me because as of now, all of my notes and data and ideas are just spread across tons of different spreadsheets and Google Docs and Apple Notes and all over the place, disorganized. And once I have all this organized together, I'll feel like a real business, and also it'll be easier to sell my businesses. Next, the backlink blueprint timeline is freaking amazing. He tells you week by week, like I said, exactly where you need to build links, how many you need to build, what posts to build them to, what anchor text to use. He literally tells you exactly what to do to make things look as natural as possible in Google's eyes so that you can start ranking and earning as fast as possible. I also like, as I mentioned before, that he teaches the white hat and the gray hat options so you can decide for yourself which ones you want to use, and you won't be clueless and wondering why your competition's outranking you when they may just be using gray hat methods. I also like how he teaches perfect SEO. You can see when you're watching all this that Matt runs a super tight ship, and everything he does is organized and clean, and he minimizes all the variables so that if something does go wrong, if you get hit by an algorithm, if something's not working, you just have a small amount of things that you need to test in order to fix it, versus someone who's just throwing crap up on the wall and seeing what sticks and just guessing on everything without any procedures or processes or standards, like what I've been doing pretty much. Then when something bad happens, you have no idea how to diagnose and troubleshoot. You just have to guess and hope and pray. But Matt breaks everything down into a science, keeps things clean and organized, and so things are easy to tweak if you need to tweak them, and you can use hard data to make the best decisions for your site. Overall, if you follow Matt's strategies to a T, you will be so far ahead of 90% of your competition who is probably just winging it right now. And after taking the course, I honestly feel bad for my competition who is about to get demolished. As you can see, this course is absolutely ginormous, and it took forever to go through all of this to make this review, which is why most other people don't take the time to do. If you found my insights helpful, decide that the course is right for you, and want to say thanks, Mitch, you can do so by using my affiliate link in the description at no extra cost to you. This helps me keep the channel running, and part will be donated to GiveWell charities. Either way, I wish you the best, and I hope you crush it with your site. Bye-bye!